Three productivity hacks for consultants. Hi everyone, my name is Jonas Niari. I'm a strategy consultant, and on this channel I help you to learn the necessary skills that you need in your first years in consulting to have a successful career, but also to live a balanced life. And today I talk about three productivity hacks for consultants. Let's start directly with productivity hack number one: define your most important task. And at the beginning of my career, I struggled with one problem, and this was that I had so many tasks on my plate, so that I felt very overwhelmed and one step behind most of the time. For example, my project manager asked me to do a slide or do a couple of slides for the upcoming steerco. Then I had to also build a business case for the project that we wanted to hand over to the client within 2 weeks. Then the project partner asked me to do quick research. Then I also was involved in an internal project for my firm. So as you see, many different tasks, many different stakeholders, many different deadlines. And these are situations, that you have very often in consulting. The thing was that, despite working really hard, despite, trying to do everything on time, I always felt, one or even two steps behind, and had the feeling that, I didn't accomplish everything that I had to accomplish. And, this kind of, created a lot of stress. And the solution for that was the book Eat That Frog by Tracy. Because in this book, he introduces the idea that you should, focus, or that you should define your one most important task, that has the biggest impact on your goals, on your project, and that you make it a habit that you do this for task first, or as a first priority in the day. And I applied this principle, and this really helped me, to kind of always have the feeling that I already did the most important task, and that of course it would be nice, if I would also accomplish all of the other tasks, but that I would always have the guarantee to accomplish my most important task at the beginning of a day. And basically, you have to understand that in consulting, you have many different tasks. So as I just described, this can happen, many different stakeholders, deadlines, and so on. And the most important thing is that you understand that prioritization is really the key to staying organized. So my advice to you is that you always sit down, identify the one most important task with the highest priority, and that you work on that task, before you start working on anything else. The way how I do it is that I make a to-do list every day, actually twice a day, and I always define my one A priority task. And it's only one task, it's not two tasks or several tasks, it's one task. What I also do is I try to get up a little earlier to work on that one task, before everyone else in the project team is getting up, because this really helps me to focus on this task before, I get distractions from phone calls, before all the meetings start, because then typically, it becomes very difficult to work on a focused or to work in a focused way on the task. So this is how I do it. Nevertheless, important for you is that you make that list, that you identify your most important task, and that you try to not work on anything else unless you have done this most important task. And this will help you to be more productive and achieve more in your week. Then principle number two that I want to talk about is that you have to apply the Pomodoro Technique. And the thing is that, especially at the beginning of my career, I realized that if you work in consulting teams, that there are many different distractions. So for example, of course, typically you work with the consulting team in a room. So there are a lot of discussions, people are joking around. Then you get a phone call, you get many emails, maybe you want to do a coffee break, and so on. And all of these distractions led to a situation where I couldn't really focus a lot on my work. And the thing with that is that it takes a certain time until you get really focused and really concentrated. And every distraction that keeps you out or pushes you out of your focus time, every distraction, or after every distraction, it takes a lot of time to get back into that state of mind. And if you always, have this kind of distractions, of course, you don't never really get into this really focused phase where you become, the most productive, and where you really get a lot of things done. The key to that, for me at least, was the Pomodoro Technique. And the Pomodoro Technique is a technique that divides, or that says, okay, we define a certain time, we are 100% focused, and then we define a certain time where you do breaks. And the classical or the typical example is that you focus 25 minutes and then do a 5-minute break, What I like to do is to have 50 or 55 minutes of pure focus and then 5 to 10 minutes breaks. And the big advantage of that is, of course, that you have, no distractions in these 25 or 50 minutes, and that you do nevertheless a lot of breaks, but in a certain time frame. So what I recommend to you is that you kind of get aware or become aware that these distractions exist and that they really prevent you from becoming focused, becoming productive. So use a Pomodoro timer. What you find is that there are many tools out there, many apps that help you to do that timer, and then you can experiment a little bit, with 25 or 50-minute sessions that help you to stay more concentrated. The way that I do it is that I try to divide my day or try to organize my day into hours, and of course there are many hours where I have meetings, where I have internal discussions or so. But if I have a block of time where I really want to get focused, I really try to use this Pomodoro timer in these times. So let's say that in the afternoon I have like 4 hours where I can entirely focus on my work. Then I would set 4 Pomodoro timers with each 15 minutes work and then 10 minutes break. And this really helps to really be 100% focused in these 15 minutes. I also have my noise cancelling earphones. I also talk to my colleagues that I don't want to get distracted, and then I focus these 50 minutes. And after in 10 minutes break, I check my emails, I do a coffee break, I talk to my colleagues, I joke around, but then I get back to focus. And this really helps me to stay more productive. And then principle number 3 is that you use the first time right approach. And the thing is that, or at least it was for me, that at the beginning I struggled a lot with concentration, because if you're not used to the workload in consulting, to the kind of pace in consulting, then it's kind of very easy to get tired, also that you don't have the right quality that you need, and that you do some sloppy mistakes. And I kind of tried to tackle that by introducing quality checks for my work, so that I would work on a task, and before I would send out a task or the deliverable, that I would do a quality check. But of course, these quality checks are very time intensive, and it's very important to do those quality checks, but you don't want to overdo it with them. Okay, you try to keep them as short as possible. And the solution for me was the discussion with my project manager, and he said, Johannes, you have to apply first time right approach. And what this basically means is that once if you sit down and work on a deliverable, let's say you build a slide, that you try to do it right the first time, so that you really try to be concentrated. Let's say you want to write a text on the slide, that you're really concentrated, that you try to formulate the sentences or to get the information in a way that you could already, or that this is already the final version. And I know in consulting we have a lot of iterations, but especially if we talk about quality, that you don't want to have any grammar mistakes, don't any spelling mistakes, that the boxes are already aligned, stuff like that, that you don't have to touch the slide again, for example, because this always takes a lot of time, because you have to open the file again, you have to think again about what you wanted to do, you have to focus again, get into the topic again, and it's always much more efficient to apply the first time right approach, to really say, if you work on something, you try to do it right the first time. Don't say you'll fix it later, try to do it right now. So how I do it is the following. So every time I work on a task, and basically it's in most cases, if you do an analysis in Excel, if you write a text on a slide, if you write an email or something like that, then I really try to focus for this 5 to 10 minutes where I write the text, where I do the analysis. Then I really try to stay focused in a time frame to make it right the first time, and this significantly reduces the kind of quality checks that I have to make in my work. So with that being said, if you want to learn all of the skills that you need in your first years in consulting, if you want to prepare actively for your consulting career, then please check out my free masterclass for you down in the links below. And also, if you like this video, then leave a thumb up and subscribe to this channel to get more information that help you to become more successful in consulting in your first years of your career. And with that being said, I wish you a great and wonderful day. Hope to talk to you soon. Goodbye, Johannes.